Hello everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff. Hope you're all having a fabulous Monday, and it is a big start to the week when it comes to the world of Age of Sigmar because, give me a second here, just pop open a little something to drink. We got a little Battle Tome update, not Battle Tome, Battle Scroll is what they're calling it. I'm sorry, gotta get my terms right. Man, I'm just knocking stuff off my desk left and right. So what we're going to do in today's video is basically, for those of you who are on the road, at work, or just generally not interested in reading, I'm going to go ahead and walk through this article with you. Essentially, this is a game-wide update to the way that scoring works when it comes to particular units in the game. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. I briefly read over it to get the general gist, before I went live, just so I don't make a complete fool of myself, but I haven't read the nitty-gritty details, and so my understanding going into this is that they're trying to essentially approach balance from a different perspective, that certain units that are very, I'm not going to want to use the word problematic, but I'm going to say very, very good, right? Very good units reward their opponent with more VP for getting them killed, meaning if I bring Storm Drake Guard, which are the hotness right now, and you kill a unit of them, you will get more victory points. Conversely, they've also made it so that certain allegiances, meaning, Sylvaneth, Bonesplitterz is one, where it's like a specific allegiance, not part of Orc War Clans as a book, but that allegiance, they actually earn bonus VP on top of that. So there's this really cool way of just kind of rewarding players, and I like it quite a bit, to be honest with you, from a concept standpoint. I'm actually very cool with it conceptually. And so what we're going to do is just walk through the article. Like I said, I haven't read the entire thing. This is the main page up on the screen on the Warhammer community site, where it says, "Will you become predator or prey in the latest Warhammer Age of Sigmar Battlescroll update?" And when it gets to the point where they actually show the PDF, I'll head over there and we're just going to spend most of our time with the actual material because, we can extrapolate all kinds of conversation from it. We don't need all the nitty-gritty stuff. So let's take a look here. Grab your hammers, axes, bows, and muster your forces for battle. The latest seasonal rules update for Warhammer Age of Sigmar is here. Cool. I love the idea of seasons. I love it. It's actually one of the few things I really did like about War Machine and Hordes. They did have rotating seasons where certain factions were just, I don't know, under the eye of Sauron, just getting a lot of love and then updates and that kind of stuff, and it would rotate out. And I think that's rad. So let's take a look here. For those in need of a refresher, Battlescrolls gathered rules changes, points changes, and other tweaks into a simple, easy-to-read format, giving you the information you need to balance a close-fought match play game of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Great synopsis. Already on board. The latest battle scroll is titled The Hunt, and it takes a satisfyingly different approach to balance. So there's the link that you can do, the download thing, but we're going to go straight into the doc. We're going to pause on the main article here. And let me just bring this up. All right. Battle Scroll, The Hunt, March 2022. This battle scroll introduces, and these are keywords here, so priority targets and prime hunters. Priority targets are some of the toughest adversaries in the mortal realms, and players score victory points for taking them down. Prime hunters are armies that are further rewarded for eliminating these foes. This document is a match play supplement for use in battles using the Pitched Battles Battle Pack. It will be updated over time in response to new releases and results from match play events. If a Battle Tome or Battle Tome update has more recent publication date than this document, units from that publication may not be designated as either priority targets or prime hunters. If a Battle Tome or backpack update has a recent publication date than this. So anything that's published after this point, so if a new, let's pick a faction here. If a new Sylvaneth book came out, all of a sudden, don't worry about this. All the stuff is inside them. This is, my understanding, is mainly for factions that are a little bit behind the curve. So let's explain these. So priority targets. The units listed in the tables below gain the priority target keyword, as well as a reward value. Each time an enemy priority target unit is destroyed, and it was not destroyed by a friendly priority target unit, you immediately score a number of victory points equal to the reward value of that unit. If the destroyed priority target was reinforced, you score one additional one. And so the rest of this document breaks down for each Grand Alliance which units constitute a priority target. We'll go through them in a second. The next one here is Prime Hunters. Some factions, sub-factions, and army types are listed as keyword Prime Hunters. If you command a Prime Hunters army, each time you score any victory points for a destroyed priority target unit, you score one additional victory point. Okay, so there's a little bit to walk through there to make sure we understand how this all works. We're going to just pick on the Grand Alliance order one real quick. Add the priority target keyword to the following units. All right, so we have Dracothian Guard Fulminators, which are so freaking nasty when they charge. Stormdrake Guard, of course, people, lots of memes online of just giving the finger to people, which I don't particularly care for, but that's all right. Vanguard Raptors with long strike crossbows, i.e. long strikes, because it's a cooler name. Hurakan, Spirit of the Wind. Severith, Lord of the Seventh Wind. Bloodstalkers, that would be Daughters of Cain, right? Marathi Cain herself, the Bastillodon with a solar engine, I love that, and the Salamander Hunting Pack. Okay, so if you are playing against, we're going to pause there, we're going to talk about priority targets. So if you're playing against we'll go with Stormcast for right now, and they brought Stormdrake Guard. If you kill the Stormdrake Guard, you get an extra VP immediately. If you kill them with a unit that is also a priority target, you do not get it. So it has to be something that is not. Let's see. Each time an enemy priority target is destroyed, and it was not destroyed by a friendly priority target unit. So if two Stormdrake Guard units go head to head, nobody gets any extra VP. I kind of like that because it rewards at least the killing blow with for other units. So that's cool. And you can see here for all of these units I just mentioned, their reward is all 1. So that's cool. In addition, you see down here in Grand Alliance order, it says Prime Hunters, Sylvaneth. So if you take any Sylvaneth army and your Sylvaneth army kills, again, we're going to keep rolling with our Stormcast example, kills a Stormdrake Guard. Good on you, first of all. And secondly, you get 2 victory points. 1 for the reward for killing the priority target, and an additional 1 because you as a Sylvaneth player are Prime Hunters. So that's how that would work. If that Stormdrake Guard was reinforced, you would get 3. 1 for killing them, 1 for it being a reinforced unit, and 1 because you're a Prime Hunter. And so this is kind of the mechanisms that they use to be able to get more VP to some of the more rough factions, shall we say. And so what we're going to do is take a look at the other 3 Grand Alliances. And yeah, let's go here. So we did order. Let's go with Grand Alliance Destruction. Add the priority target to the following units. We have Mega Boss on Maw Crusher. Awesome. We have Gatebreaker Mega Gargant. And this is important. It has all 3 Gargants listed, but in parentheses next to them it says excluding mercenaries. So if you just have a Gargant that's bolted onto a force, like is it Drog, I think is often used in like Night Hunt armies and that kind of stuff, he's not going to do the same thing because he's not nearly as crushingly effective in that one as he would be like in, say, Sons of Behemoth. So we have the all 3 Gargants. Interesting here though is the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher gets you 1 reward point. The Gatebreaker Mega Gargant gives you 2. The Kraken Eater Mega Gargant gives you 2. And the War Stomper, which is the 3rd option, only gives you 1. As far as Prime Hunters go from this point, so we're talking pure destruction armies. Gloomspite gets anything, pretty much Gloomspite gets, they just need the love. Anything that they kill, they're going to be getting an extra VP from this list. And then Orc Warclan's Bonesplitterz army type. And I did cheekily in the title put Bonesplitterz are now OP. They're not. They're so far from OP, but they are super fun. And I do like this change for them. We go down to Grand Alliance Chaos. You add the priority target keyword to the following units. Be'lakor, makes sense. And he's worth 1. Kairos Fate Weaver, again, worth 1. Horrors of Tzeentch, only if unit included any pink horrors. So that's an interesting one. I like that caveat. So if your opponent is playing Disciples of Tzeentch and they come with a bunch of horrors, every single time you destroy a horrors unit that started with pink horrors in it, meaning they're the kind of unit that can divide, this is a great way to do it. If they start with blues or brimstones, which you can do, you just never see it, then they wouldn't give you the reward point. That's basically how that works. And the last one is Slaves to Darkness Demon Prince with the Mark of Khorne. That is so specific. Who was ruining days with the Demon Prince with the Mark of Khorne from Slaves to Darkness? I don't know who on staff had a really bad experience. I feel like the Slaves to Darkness don't need the cup that they're wearing has already been beaten and worn. They don't need to be kicked anymore. Well, whatever. And the Chaos Prime Hunters are the Heat Knights of Slaanesh and Skaven. Now, interestingly, I do love the fact that the Skaven, I feel like, can probably take out most of these units from range with the Warp Lightning Cannon. So I kind of like that change. The Heat Knights of Slaanesh, that's an interesting one because all the Chaos ones listed and many of the other units, barring about a third of the list from Order, are heroes. So, like, the Heat Knights already want to go after them, so it's just double incentivizing them is what I'm trying to say. I think that's great. I don't know if that's going to change kind of their competitive standing. I don't know much about kind of the problems with the faction. But, again, like with the Bonesplitterz, right? Is it revolutionary? No. Is it a nice little nudge? Yeah, that's cool. I'd dig it. And then Grand Alliance Death is the sad panda here, I think. Grand Alliance Death has absolutely no priority targets. Even though the god of undeath exists in this army, like Hades shows up and is like, hey, fist bumps a little tiny skeleton guy. And you're telling me there's not a single thing in this entire Grand Alliance that's worth killing. Not Catacross, bonus points for that. No bonus points for Nagash, all the Mortarks. You got nothing. I would have put Manfred on the list if I'm honest with you. But just because of his teleport BS he can do. So I just think it's ridiculous. I love all these huge lists, and then it's like, in Grand Alliance Death, there's nothing worth killing there. It's all good. It's fine. Nothing to see here. But for Prime Hunters, we have the Night Haunt and the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Now, on those, remember, with the way that this is written at the top, once the new Night Haunt book drops, this will no longer apply to them. They won't have it, because it's a publication that came out more recently than this document. So that's kind of a bummer, but for right now, it's a great little thing to tack on, especially because we don't have an exact date as to when the Night Haunt book is coming out. I certainly haven't heard anything. I don't know if anybody else has, but... And then the Bone Reapers, I've heard good things about them since they got their update in in White Dwarf Magazine. Black Dwarf Magazine, oh my god. But yeah, I don't know how much this affects them, to be honest with you. If you're a Bone Reapers player, I would love to hear what your thoughts are. But that's it. That's the document here. So we're going to go back over to our community page article and just kind of look at, see if they have any thoughts, regarding the document, that kind of thing. Matt Rose from the Warhammer Studio has some insights into this unique balance update. It's an exciting time for Warhammer Age of Sigmar rules development with a bunch of battle tomes on the way, bringing new rules and point values specifically designed for the latest edition of the game. There's some cool pictures in this thing. Balancing the game is a task that requires constant attention. For this second battle scroll, the team are trying something different, providing a standalone mechanism for us to address balance without invalidating the content of the battle tomes you've collected, clashing with points contained in upcoming books, or restricting the use of an army that you may have spent a lot of time collecting and painting. Now I'm going to pause there. That quote is why I love Warhammer. Okay? What's his name? Matt Rose? Matt Rose, you are always welcome on this channel, because I love that. A standalone mechanism for us to address balance without invalidating the content of the battle tomes you've collected. Ace. Clashing with points contained in upcoming books. Again, because they don't have to care about the Nighthaunt one. It's awesome. Or restricting the use of an army you may have spent a lot of time collecting. That's terrific, guys. It's terrific. Thank you. To that end, I mean, because normally when you talk about a lot of game change stuff, there was a time, and I think we're still coming out of it in Games Workshop history, where this would have been like a Forbidden Power level box, that we all had to buy for $85, and it offered nothing really except for a few little hot changes like Predator and Prey. Like, that's kind of what they do. But this is just saying, let's just make the game more fun, and how can we do so in a way that's not too invasive? I like it. Let's see, I finished that quote. To that end, the Predators and Prey rule in the General's Handbook 2021 is being expanded. This rule provides players with another way of earning victory points by targeting the biggest threats in the mortal realms. Players who choose to pack their roster with dominant units, like Dracothian Guard, will surrender precious victory points for each unit lost. On the other hand, players running factions that aren't performing as well can earn even more victory points by taking down units at the top of the competitive meta. These points make it possible for many armies to score some big wins in matchups where they might have previously struggled. You don't need to change your army roster in response to this update, but it might make some lesser used units and factions rather more appealing. That's all you needed to do. Don't change your list. Just have a more interesting and discerning eye when you're looking through your army roster. I like it. The lists of priority targets and prime hunters have been built based on feedback and from tournament players and analysis of hundreds of events. Okay, then he just reprints the rule. We're going to skip past because we already read it. There's a particular focus on the win rate per war scroll. That is, the percentage of time a faction wins when a certain war scroll is included in the roster. This update will go live on the Warhammer Age of Sigmar app in the coming days. You'll also see the changes from previous Battlescroll updates remain valid and have been added to the app. And the FAQ document. So they're basically just going to keep the app up to date. I like that. That's a great little plug right there. Let's see. His quote continues, "We're aware that this change will be more effective at addressing certain types of issues than other." You mean we can't just expect the entire game to be fixed because you put out one free PDF? Oh my god, internet rage. Whatever. I feel like that's how some people are going to read this. Well, it didn't help me. Insert whatever weird thing people are trying to do. Keep in mind, this is just one part of a bigger picture. We'll continue to release updated war scrolls and allegiance abilities in battle tomes and other supplements, and keep rebalancing point values in the General's handbooks. Awesome. I love it. I love it. I'm going to go back to the chat here because I see there's a few comments here I'm going to go address here. It's important to keep in mind that our regular Battlescroll updates are focused on game balance in match play, with particular focus on organized play and events. If you're new to the game and tend to play more casually, it's totally up to you and your opponent whether or not you use it in your games. The studio is keen to hear what you think about these changes, and they give you an email where you can submit your feedback. We read every single email sent in, Matt assures us, and we don't reply right away. We'd rather collect the feedback and publish any changes publicly, so everyone has the same information. Okay, cool. That's basically it for the article. So I'm going to take a look at this super BA picture that I love right here. I'm just going to answer the chat. If you have any questions, comments, or thoughts on this change, go ahead and pop them into the chat. Let's see. Smat84 Bonesplitterz is so hot right now. I love it. James Carlin with the excluding mercenaries from Mega Gargants. Do you think that would mean that including them as a mercenaries would mean they could score the reward point? That is my understanding, yes. So what he's saying is, for those of you who are tuning in a little later, Gatebreaker, let's just take the Gatebreaker for example. Gatebreaker Mega Gargant. If he's not a mercenary, he's a priority target. If he is a mercenary, then he is no longer a priority target. If he is not a priority target, when he kills a priority target, meaning anything else on this list, my understanding from the way it's written is that he would be able to gain the extra victory points. That's my understanding of it, based on the way it is written. Rule me, I like that name. To me, this looks like Prime Hunters are too weak to even be able to kill any priority targets, and they'll still mostly be beaten down by more than 5 VP they might score. You know, I'm not going to say you're wrong in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to disagree with you. What I'm going to say, though, is I would much rather them do something like this where they introduce a concept kind of with a light touch, and then they can always turn it up, right? If they had, let's say in 4 months or whatever, they release another one of these things and say, hey, listen, we did some bad math. Bonesplitterz and Gloomspite are way worse off than we thought. Now Prime Hunters get 2 additional victory points if they kill a priority target. You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool with them introducing a concept and then turning up the volume later. That's cool with me. I think that is much better than, say, Prime Hunters get 5 VP and then having to walk that backward. So I don't know. I see your point. I don't necessarily disagree. This is going to require a lot of testing and stuff. But, you know, just from an approach of how do you start to turn the ship in the right direction, I'm not worried about it. I think it's a simple idea. But yeah, Jesse Zeck, Doug, you're great. Oh, thank you. These rules are not boo. You don't like them, Jesse? Why don't you like them? You know, honestly, most of the time, I think they're just going to be forgotten, if I'm truly honest with you. But, I don't know. Wouldn't it be super fun? I mean, okay. If nothing else, everybody, wouldn't it be really fun if your next event, let's just say it's a local thing, everybody had to print one of these off, and whoever killed the most of these things gets, like, a trophy or something like that of, like, you know, Master Hunter or something like that. Master of the Hunt. That would be so cool. Kill as many of these things as possible. I think just literally use this balance update as a hit list. I think that could be a lot of fun. Rain Dancer, just got my 1,000 points of Bonesplitterz painted. Very excited that they're getting some love. Yep. I mean, and that's, at the end of the day, I understand that not everyone is going to be super into these rules. But remember, for the factions who are in a rough place, this is a little bit of love. It's just a little bit of attention. If you're a Sylvaneth player, it has been a long, cold winter. Pretty much since about 2015. Gloomspite gets, when's the last time they got a meaningful update, right? They got, and I say update, I don't mean like the model lines and that kind of stuff. They have terrific models, right? When their Battle Tome came out, it was terrific. But I'm talking about, like, in the last year, how much have they gotten attention to rules-wise or things that made them feel unique and special? And I feel like this is just a nice little bit of dash of flavor. Same thing for Bonesplitterz. The ones not that I disagree with, but I just didn't know that they were in such straits. Like the Skaven and the Ossiarch Bone Reapers stand out to me as like, oh, I guess I just didn't realize that they were struggling that much. I don't know anything about those factions, so that's not me saying I disagree. I just didn't know. What else? Skull Energy Sword, I think is how you say that. I wonder how this will work with slaying monsters, giving you a victory point. So would... Oh, so would 2 out of the 3 Mega Gargants give you 3 victory points? Yes, let's walk through this. So, as of right now, because that's a great point, we have to be able to rack all these points up. If you kill a Gatebreaker Mega Gargant, you get 2 for killing him, assuming he's not a mercenary. If, because he's a monster, you'll get 3. And if you kill him with a Prime Hunter's army, so let's say Sylvaneth, for example, you would get 4. If you take that same math, I mean, it's 4 VP. The dude becomes a walking objective. I like that. So, I mean, I don't know the tactical differences between all 3 Mega Gargants. To me, they all just kind of look like giant, massive wounds. For whatever reason, the War Stomper, they're like, he's only worth 1. He's just a cuddle buddy. He's not out here to kill stuff, apparently. I don't know. I'd still be scared of it across the table. But, yeah. And then, of course, there's other modifiers, like is the unit reinforced, which obviously you can't do with Mega Gargants, but you know what I mean. Let's see. Now we just need Bonesplitterz to rule a rule to re-roll against prime targets. That would be kind of cool. I mean, see, but that's what I'm saying, Dragon King, is like, this is a great example of just introducing a concept, and then they can always crank it later. Like, what if in the next one there was a spell? Hey, any Prime Hunter army gains the following spell in addition to what they know. And it's just like, you know, go for the legs, sweep the leg kind of a thing, and then you get extra bonuses against priority targets. I'm really cool with it. Stormrunner, poor Morathi. My sympathy is very limited. She only takes 3 wounds per round. And she only gives an extra VP after all of that. 2 max. Oh, well, she is a monster too, isn't she? So she would be 2. Is that correct? I haven't looked at her War Scroll in forever, and I know it's getting updated soon, so I'm not incentivized to. Why learn it now? What else? Rerolling ones, Jack. Hey, buddy. Going to shake things up. I like it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just little things to kind of keep the game interesting. They're not going to drop a single PDF and solve world hunger, cure cancer, and make your particular army an unstoppable killing machine. People who seem to think that that's going to happen is just, it's out there to me. I've already saw some of that vitriol when they when the community page shared this on Facebook, people being like, my faction got ignored and now it's worse because everybody can kill my stuff and get extra VP. It's like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Let's see. Kind of glad my Soulblight Gravelords don't seem OP. No. My experience has not been that at all. I mean, I don't think they're overpowered. I think they're good, but I don't think, that has not been. I mean, I mostly play Soulblight against Soulblight. I mean, let's see. Slaanesh changes, please. Well, let me think about this. So with the Slaanesh one, it's interesting because they already want to be fighting a lot of the units on this list. Because Slaanesh gets depravity points for killing heroes and stuff, is my understanding, if that hasn't changed from the last book. Like I said, I got the battle tome, but I only really read the lore for factions that I don't have an interest in playing, and I've never had an interest in playing Slaanesh. But, like, most of the stuff on this list, Mega Boss, everything from the destruction thing, it can get them extra depravity points. Most things on the Chaos one, and 2. I count 3 things from the order one off the top of my head. Let's see. Funny how death has no priority targets. Nagash clearly made some payments under the table. Exactly, yeah. That was my first thought when I cracked this open. I was like, oh, you mean there's literally no one in the entire Grand Alliance of Death that's worth killing? What a sharp contrast from having them be the main villains of the whole arc called the Soul Wars. That's super different. What a hard left turn. Drugs, kids. Not even once. Let's see. And it's a free update. like you said, they're not forcing another purchase. Exactly, yeah. And you know, like I said, I do think there was another world where this is part of like a Predator and Prey box set that we all had to pay $85 for, and maybe there's one weird endless spell that has a corner case thing and whatever, you know. But this, I like this. Is it Sadist72? Really like this update. Me as well. Corbin, I mean, my Skaven can't really kill any of the priority targets, but yay, more victory points. I mean, that's fair. It depends on what you're struggling with and what kind of Skaven list you have. I agree. I feel like Skaven's answer to this update is just more warp lightning. But whatever. And Skull Energy Sword, as a Behemoth player, I welcome these changes. It was hard finding opponents. And with an army of only 4 or 5 War Scrolls, if you nerf even a single model, it can drastically affect how they're played. I think that's a fantastically succinct way of saying it. Because this represents almost the entirety of the faction. And so, yeah, I'm here for it. And I like rewarding your opponent. I'm going to word this. Like, to me, it's way more interesting to make your opponent earn more than to just make you worse. Like, who wants to have an army that just immediately gets worse, right? That would suck. But with this, it's just like, you know what? None of your stuff changes. If you brought your Storm Drake Guard, they're still going to be awesome. There's still going to be people walking around giving you the finger and posting it on Instagram for some reason. But now your opponent has a chance at some stuff, especially if it's, you know, a mirror match. And when I say a mirror match, I mean like Stormcast versus Stormcast. And now your opponent has to like, oh, do I want to use the long strikes to kill X unit or Y, where I will gain more points and stuff. I don't know. It's really cool. Lord Billy, as a narrative player, I chuckle at the salty players. Give me my Urgold. Well, here's the thing is, the people I've seen being salty are not the same as the ones that I know online, and I follow quite a few of them, of competitive folks. So like people who are actually really, really good at this game and like tend to win events, look at this kind of thing and go, what a fun challenge. Because it is. It's a challenge. And that's at the end of the day what it is. How many Storm Drake Guard do you want to bring? How many do you plan on losing, worst case scenario? Because that directly ties to how many victory points your opponent gets. It's a puzzle. Good players try to solve the puzzle. Crappy players complain about it. Narrative players are picking our nose in the corner having a great time talking about Urgold, of which I am a part of that third group. But you know what I mean? Like most of the salt you see online is people who are never going to win an event anyway, and this just kind of moved the goalpost for them because they don't want to learn the game. That is a total personal opinion, but to me, the best players view these things as a challenge, a fun mix-up, because the data gets stale otherwise. So yeah, I mean, that's my opinion. Feel free to rebuttal. I will say this, 40k 9th edition did this with Knights, and I immediately lowered the percentage of Knight players. Taking Knights is basically a VP deficit. I've seen that update. I also think that the way that 40k functions is very different. So for example, a Knight becomes a liability in 40k because if he has a last cannon, all he's going to do is super kill one guardsman with that. Yeah, he can take out tanks and stuff, but when it comes to capturing objectives and stuff like that, that last cannon's only going to kill one guy. So if your opponent is already up on VP and you can't match it with, say, taking out important, you know, large pieces, if you're playing against Tyranids where it's just a bunch of little guys that don't do anything, yeah, you're right, it is a VP deficit. But when it comes to stuff like Sons of Behemoth, one, they've been sweeping the meta for a long time. They just have. And I don't feel like, you know, 2 victory points here or there. Because again, it's just when they die, they have a maximum number of, 4 or 5 max of these guys you can put on the table, depending on how you do it. Knowing how one Gargant can rush into a unit of 40 dudes and kick their dicks in collectively with one swing of his foot makes it feel better than a Knight who gets in combat and can only super kill one little dude. So, like, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, you are absolutely correct, Corbin, in that when that change happened in 40K, Knight players just dissipated because you're correct. You are functionally giving up a ton of victory points to your opponent. But the way that those units, Knights and Gargants, function within the context of the game is so very, very different. I don't think that's an issue. When we look at the... Doug said a rude word. Oh, no. You should hear me in real life when I don't have my internet earmuff filter on. But, you know, when we look at the context of what those units are able to do in a given game and how much Sons of Behemoth players, when they are cranked to 11, how many points they win by, I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. I think it'll just bring the games a little bit closer so that stuff like tactical play, maybe some dice rolls, that kind of stuff can really showcase the strengths and weaknesses of the players more than just the armies. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up because we are doing just a quickie little live thing. But if you have any last comments or questions, I will leave it open for a minute just to give folks a chance to say their piece. Pardon me. I still getting over this terrible cold. It's got the sniffles. Can't get rid of it. You know, one thing I want to know, and this is for anyone in the comments later, what is it about the Slaves to Darkness Demon Prince, specifically with the Mark of Khorne, that made these game guys go like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, and here we go. What is, why is the Demon Prince of Khorne in Slaves to Darkness worthy of being a priority target, but the God of Undeath isn't? Please. The Blood Slick Ground command ability. Okay, let me pull up my phone. I'm going to check that out. Give me one sec here. I can never find this app in my phone. Thank you very much. Lord Billy, let's see. Chaos. Slaves to Darkness. War Scrolls. Okay. Use this ability in the hero phase if he has the Khorne keyword. If you do so into your next hero phase, run and charge rolls made for enemy units within 18 inches of this model are halved. You cannot use this command ability. Ooh. Well, Lord Billy, you got me there. That's a pretty dang good ability. Oh, man. He halves your run and charges. Okay. Yeah, I won't argue. I won't argue that it needs to be on there. I just thought it was really funny that old kit is on this list and the Lord of Undeath is not. But I could see why having running charge is basically a depressing experience. Let's see. That's about all that I got. So thank you all so much for joining me and hanging out. I hope that you enjoyed this. I like doing these little things live just because, you know, people can ask questions and kind of give feedback. If you're watching this later, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. If there are death units that you think should be on this list, I was kind of thinking Kragnos, but not Kragnos. What's the name? Catacross. I don't know why I got that switched up, but whatever. Anyway, Lord Billy, I feel like it should work the other way around, giving Khorne more reliable charges. Yeah, but he's not in a Khorne army. I don't know. I mean, Khorne should just have that rule in general, like the actual Blades of Khorne. It should just be there. Anyway, friends, you guys all have a wonderful day. I will catch you next time in my next video. Hope you're enjoying the Fire Slayer series, and if you want to hang out with me some more, I'm going to be on Warhammer Weekly this week talking about the Fire Slayers, so I am excited to see you all there. Anyway, thank you, friends, and I will catch you later. Happy wargaming.